dial, it's 10:30. We back, spin that back show, all the classics on track. With $79.99, we're crossing the gap. Album reviews, little known facts, hip hop is back. Saturday mornings, dive into the history, samples and stories, old school mysteries. Spin that back show, we keeping it real. Every Saturday, 10:30. You know the deal. With album reviews and stories untold. Hip hop legends, the greats and the bold. Catch us reminiscing, breaking it down. East to west coast to underground sound. From Grandmaster Flash to Nas Big Prize. Unveiling truth, no disguise.
Yes, y'all. It's the Spin That Back show one more again. Saturday, 10:30. It is January 25th, 2025. Can you believe it? And check it out. Today, we're going to be talking about the rise and fall of conscious rap. And you know, we always talk about 79 to 99 here. So this is what we're going to talk about. And this is where the conscious rap began at. And this is, in my opinion, this is where it kind of failed at too. So let me get my guest up in here. Let me introduce my co-host here, who's always here, Mr. Nice Guy. What's going on with you, brother?
Chilling. You know, this is a juicy topic, man. I'm ready to speak on it. That's what's up.
Yes, sir. We also have Mr. Student X, Professor X. He's the student and a teacher. So we're gonna vibe with him. Mr. X, how you doing there today, brother?
Man, doing good, brothers. You know, man, it's great to be on the show, man. Spin that back, man. I watch it regularly. I'm a fan of the show. I learned so much. And so, I'm eager to get on this topic. You know, this is a great one. They all are great, you know, but I exceptionally, was feeling this one today.
We'll spin that back on. And we got Mr. Afro Agnostics, who comes by every now and then. Mr. Afro Agnostics, what's going on with you, my brother? I know you're a big fan of hip hop from back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. This is as Student X said, a great topic that's near and dear to my heart. I just wish I feel very unprepared, but
So we're gonna talk about conscious hip hop. So we're gonna get around to your people like Eminem eventually. So
hey man, okay. I just say Detroit. Eminem ain't from Detroit. Just we gotta always
really?
Whoa, spin that back one time.
Really? What?
What'd you say? Eminem
grew up in Warren, Michigan by way of Missouri. He never went to a Detroit school. He was not in the streets. He was not off the porch. He's a fabrication. He's from Warren, Michigan. Back in the day, if I drove to Warren, Michigan, I have to make sure I have my glasses on, my plates correct. I have to take off my hat, drive correctly, because you was going to get pulled over or called a nigger.
Wow.
So you tell me, I looked at 8 Mile and thought that was.
But he was smart in that movie because he claimed 8 Mile. 8 Mile is the divider if you're going east and west between Detroit and the suburbs. So he played it close. He lived at one time close to 8 Mile on the suburban side. Of Detroit, outside of the city.
Wow. Anyway, we're gonna get back to that. We're gonna get back to that. A little too far. Like I said, we're gonna talk about the rise and fall of conscious rap. Now let's talk about the rise of conscious rap. So in order to do that, we gotta take it all the way back to the beginning. 1979. Who was that? So Sonic, well, what was it called? Bambaataa? No, it wasn't Bambaataa. It was Sugar Hill.
Yeah,
Rapper's Delight. They came out and did their thing. Rapper's Delight. They was just rapping about, having a good time, maybe telling a little story about eating chicken that tastes like wood and stuff like that. Then you had people like Kurtis Blow, which we must say was the first hip hop superstar by itself. Had the first major record deal and everything, but he was still talking about it. Having a good time, Christmas rapping and basketball and wherever else he had at that time. Nothing really too conscious. It was just more like party rap, just.
The breaks.
Well, yeah, you know what? I see. There you
breaks
go.
Is kind of conscious. You know what I'm saying? That's.
Got a point. Actually, you got a point. Breaks might have been part of the beginning of the
exactly. So
But
yeah,
what most people really associate with the first like conscious record is Grandmaster Flash and the
Yeah.
Furious Five. The
message.
message.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees with that, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
In
that's
fact, we need
about right.
a picture of Melly Mel up here. Let me find a picture of Melly Mel. You know, we're going to do him some justice here. I'll get that up in a minute. But yeah, so the message was because
Remind me when that was released.
what year was that released? Was that like 81? Somebody want to research that?
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, go ahead and look that up while I get this picture up here real quick. Yeah, I think that had to be about 81. And it was really that was it the last verse where he said the child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind?
Released July 1st, 1982.
82. Okay, 82.
I think the entirety of the song, though. But yeah, that part was a highlight. But
Yeah, that the entirety of the song really is. I mean, it's, you know, and of course these are the same people that did, you know, White Lines, but you know, again, it was still a conscious rap song.
then they did Jesse. That was the only thing political thing that I think Sugar Hill pushed for them to do was they did Jesse Run. You remember Jesse when Jesse Jackson was running? Excuse me.
Oh,
Yeah.
bless you. And
That's
you know
all
what?
Melly Mel, y'all.
In all fairness, I said White Lines, but they did throw in that line that said "Don't do it." So technically, that's kind of
Don't do it.
That wasn't the origins of that song, but once they stuck that in there, they kind of turned it into a you know, message song. So, you know, I mean, even if it wasn't there, it was a message, not just really good message.
But I have to say,
But hold on, you gotta say this though. He was saying "Don't do it, baby," because he wanted it all for himself. But yeah,
what was about to say, Afro agnostics?
Now, one thing I want to point out is that I can talk about how I know him later, but if you look online, there's a song called Black Nation Rise by Brother D from the Bronx. So that came out in 1980. It had a local buzz in New York. Never did anything outside of New York, but it was part of a contention in hip hop to push more socially conscious rap as opposed to party hardy.
Gotcha. Infamous. What were we saying?
well, I'm just saying, you know, the message. Yeah, you're right because it starts off, you know, broken glass everywhere, people pissing on the what?
On the
Like
stairs.
they just don't care. Like they just don't care.
Stairs like they just don't care.
Can't get away, can't stand the noise. Got no money to move out. Guess I got no choice.
Because I'm close to the edge.
That hook. I mean, that hook is amazing. You know what I'm saying? They had all the elements, you know, in there, and he always had dope lyrics. He always had a dope voice. You know what I'm saying? He needed to leave alone the non-Detroit guy as far as, you know, what Afro Agnostics is saying, but still, you know, Melly Mel is that dude, you know.
But it was a very poetic way to say, man, I'm stressed out. I'm living in a ghetto. I'm living in a segregated community. I'm fucked up. You know, I don't have resources. That's what that hook is expressing, and it resonates. It was poetic the way he put it.
And see, the consciousness in this was he was talking about what was going on around him. So it's not like he was conscious, like he was trying to really elevate our thinking or anything, but he was bringing to the mainstream what's really going on around us. This is what influences us. This is what we see every day. So to me, that was kind of like a conscious thing, you know, just
Absolutely.
being able to see what's going on and express it on record.
Poor people are very aware of poverty.
Right. Poor people are, but a whole lot of people don't even believe it, you know, because if you haven't experienced it, it's like it's foreign to you. You know, something you can't even imagine. Really,
He gave you a vivid experience, like that first line, you know. I mean, broken glass everywhere. I mean, because people who don't see, you know, he actually saw that when he was living in. He's from the Bronx, right? He was living in the Bronx project. Yeah.
And the stuff they were saying, I couldn't relate to it because I thought they was saying pissing on the station. That's why I had to kind of question it because it's like, what are they saying? Because we didn't have that type of stuff where we grew up at, even though we grew up in the ghetto. I grew up on the east side in the ghetto, but it just didn't seem like it was like that Bronx. And then when I saw the video, I'm like, nah, sure ain't nothing like that. LA nothing like New York. New York ghetto is ghetto. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
LA ghetto is like bougie ghetto.
It's older. It's an older ghetto too.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Hundreds of years older,
Yeah.
of course, you know, but it is what it is. Brother Floyd X, what do you remember about
Student X?
oh, excuse me.
I was like Floyd in the background. You know,
I keep, oh, Mr. Walk looked like he trying to get up in the house. What's up, Walk?
What's up, fellas? Sorry, man. I had so much going on at one time. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, you ain't
The
missed.
show starts at 10. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway. But yeah, no.
What do you remember about the message?
Yeah, but I remember being at the bump, and then but then beyond that, I remember Grandmaster Flash and Beach Street too. You know what I mean? Because he did the main song there.
Ramon.
You talking about Beach Street Breakdown, right?
Yeah. You know what I mean? And both those, to go to our brother's point, is like, the brother is painting a picture. You know what I mean? You could see, and you were transformed and taken there. You know what I mean? And then the brother was very poetic. I bumped that to this day. Both of the cuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but this topic, it's what I appreciate about it is that when we're talking about conscious rap, there's two elements. There's the conscious rap songs, because there was definitely various artists that would put out a conscious rap song. You know what I mean? But then there's a whole different situation when you're looking at, okay, well, who are the conscious rap groups? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? That's two different things. And so as we're exploring this topic, I'm keeping that in mind. Is looking at these songs. Mr. Nice brought it up too about the white lines, but clarified it. You know what I mean? As well. So but no, this is a great topic. But yeah, Grandmaster, Flash. You know what I mean? Definitely message number one, and then but why I can't separate that song from Beat Street. You know what I mean? And that cut right there. They both was hard, and they feel like it's almost a similar song.
You know what I think? A lot of times people equate conscious rap with like you just a upstanding citizen. You're married to the black woman. You don't curse. You don't do this. You don't do that. But that's not necessarily what it means. And I remember Willie D told a story about, remember in the 90s, he was like in an elevator with a conscious rapper. All he was talking about is chicks and trying to get more bras. Sort of sound like me right now. Anyway, and then he was like this conscious rapper who was, if I name him, he said if he named him, you would know who he was. Pissed in the elevator. Was just a NIWG. Hey, and he was looking at this dude like, damn, I'm not even that effed up as an individual. See, what happened was people realized that people talking this positivity and pro-black SHIT, you are not really what you living that you're speaking about on records.
Yeah, eventually it became a fad in a sense. This is kind of how it kind of died out, but we'll get there. Let's go through the timeline just a little bit.
Because we're just looking at, we're not necessarily, there always is going to be a piece of black pride, some pro-blackness in the perspective of rappers, because, rappers are black for the most part. But I think the conscious rap, you speak of, kind of like pinpointing Melly Mel maybe as a starting point. It didn't become Afrocentric consciousness, which is you threw the two together until a later time. So I think we should kind of build up and go there.
Well, yeah, let's start building. So then you start talking about who else you knew had conscious records after that? Maybe Run DMC, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I would argue that it's like that. Hard Times they were not party hardy songs for sure. They were talking about, they were not like the most informed, but hey, they were speaking about issues going on, society, unemployment is at a record high. You know what I'm saying? Is that the first line?
Yeah.
That's the first line is like that. Unemployment at a record high. So, yeah.
So, yeah, no, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people moving, people grooving, people want to die, whatever the hell he said. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, so you got Run DMC, and then you can build up from there.
Divine Sound. What about Divine Sound?
What people
do for money?
Yeah.
Well, spend that.
That's
a good one. That's a damn good one, actually.
I definitely used
I
to
think you got money. Oh
back in
my!
the day.
You got a lot of songs talking about money. What people do.
I asked her why with tears in her eye. She said, I did it for the MONEY. Hey. Yeah.
It might sound strange, might sound funny, but that's what people do for money. Now, I'm telling you, this song I will always identify with the fact that this dude was blasting this in a Jeep, literally a block away from my house, and it was bumping a block away. He was on Pico, we were on Saturn on High Point, and we always think about this. Back in the day, you could really like bump, like you can't really do that stuff now. The cops wouldn't allow it, but back in those days, I mean, you can still get ticket and stuff like that, but it wasn't. It just, you know, it happened a lot. And I mean, that dude had thumps. I know he didn't have no hearing to be in that car with us. But yeah, but you have that song. You have even like Houdini, like One Love and stuff like that. I mean, these things are still friends, exactly. Friends,
Yeah.
you know, literally the first rap single I ever bought was a 45, Friends on one side and 5 Minutes of Funk on the other side.
Okay,
Man.
spin that back. Real
Man.
talk.
You ain't got it no more, though. You ain't got it.
No, I don't got it anymore.
Well, Houdini, you wouldn't consider them like a conscious group because you had stuff like Freaks Come Out at Night. You know, it was about that party, and hey, they did what they had to do, but they still had some consciousness in their music.
Hold on, I want to know why, because Walt's alluded to this. Why is if it's consciousness, it can't include sex and having fun? I don't get it.
I know. To
Well,
me,
no, I don't see no consciousness in Freaks Come
I mean-
Out at Night. You know what I'm saying?
Say
I mean,
what?
unless you just telling the kids like hey,
yeah, be careful. Yeah, that's they come out at night. Yeah,
No,
but I
No,
agree.
there's nothing wrong with sex. I think it's the misogyny that you're talking about, not the sex. Like like if I
it's not even about the sex. It's really about the party life. That's what it's really. It's like a party.
But see, I think that it's
Feel
one
good.
thing.
Not even that consciousness couldn't be feel good, but it's just some songs are just just there to make you move. Get you on the
You know what? In this, because we're gonna come back to this, because I feel like there's some conscious stuff that might still basically do that, because I feel like
you can do both.
partying ain't bad. But
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, what is consciousness, to us? You know what I mean? Like, I know for me, I associate conscious rap with, rap that brought attention to political, social issues, anti-war, police brutality. I mean, I put, the fast forward, I put NWA Fuck the Police in conscious rap. You know what I mean? A rap song.
It is.
Not a rap group, but rap song.
I don't do that.
But when we gonna get there right now, we in the early 80s. We in the 80s.
We're gonna get there.
Right
We're gonna
now.
get there.
That's a good debate right there. That's a good debate.
X-Clan had a song on their second album. X-Clan had a song called FTP. FTP? Fuck the police. I thought I was the only person that heard that one, but yeah.
Oh man. But you know about Star React.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Y'all going too fast. Y'all going too fast.
Hey, better hide tonight.
All the peckerwoods better hide
That's
tonight.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know that. Well, I know that. I know what you're
Okay.
talking about. Anyway, we're gonna get to that too. Okay, so let's just go ahead and just skip on up a little bit. To me, I consider PE to be the epitome of the beginning of conscious rap, in a sense, or conscious, like a conscious group.
The movement, sort of like
Social
BDP.
movement. They're talking about political stuff and all. Them and BDP, they came around the same time.
BDP didn't start off that way,
was
but
more like gangster in the sense at first.
No, the first album was straight gangster. There wasn't no politics, hardly
PE
nothing.
was
on that
not
first
gangster.
album.
They was not gangster at all. Period. They was just straight up socially conscious.
That first album was just like kind of regular stuff too.
BDP?
The first album, no, I'm talking about the first. No, the first BDP was gangster. The first Public Enemy album, there was a lot of just kind of like my car, my 98.
My 98. But it was still conscious. It was conscious. It was conscious. It was very conscious.
There was conscious stuff on it.
BDP didn't start getting The Teacher. That was the second album, My Philosophy. That's when that's right. But they did come out gangster. LA Cats was banging fucking Criminal Minded. Come on.
NWA sampled so much of this stuff.
9mm.
That's not the cover.
He had 2 9mm on the cover with the ammo laid
Yeah,
around.
guns on the cover, something far from a lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Beside my
da
brother
bang? Why da bang? Hey.
Yes. Listen to the 9mm go bang. Yeah, no, they was on
Hey,
some
I'm about
gangster
to go
stuff,
live
that's
on
for sure.
Facebook with the yeah, I'm going live. Let me take
Yeah,
this
well,
off.
go tell your people.
Nah, man, I'm trying to get us some views. Fuck the bullshit.
So go ahead, Infamous. You were
Yes,
saying
sir.
so. We were
So,
talking
that
about
show.
Okay, let's talk about Public Enemy, and then you got BDP, and then this is when it all kind of started in a sense. This is what started the trend. That's when you started getting people like the people that Walk was talking about, that Willie D was describing in the elevator and stuff like that. I don't know who this artist is. Did he ever say who the artist was?
It don't matter. It don't matter.
Yeah, it really don't matter.
It was Willie D's. His mind state switched like, oh, they niggas like us. They
I mean,
get
it wouldn't
chicks
matter
in-
if it was
they get chicks in a hotel like us. They're fucking chicks. They're drunk like us. Huh?
I say if it was Flavor Flav, it would probably matter because
it would.
Hey, wait, hold on. Let me say my joke there. Let me say my joke. Y'all just been reading the thread. It's 3 people you keep your chick away from. 1 is Chris Brown. 2 is Drake. The other is fucking Flavor Flav.
What's up?
But you're talking about the movement, because you're right. It's one thing when this group is doing something or this artist is doing something, then a lot of people sort of become a trend. Because around this time, that's why we had sort of like the African medallions. That's why when I created the meme for the show, I said, let me go grab an African medallion. I said, and let me go grab a Tech 9, because these things are sort of like metaphors.
That was a good meme too, man. Shout out.
Thank you very much. It was, so it's really a nutshell.
I think about other groups that came around that time. I think about X-Clan. I think about the Native Tongues and stuff like that. Pretty much like Jungle Brothers and Latifah.
De La Soul, Monie Love,
PRT.
Yeah, PRT.
You can't bring up Native Tongue and not mention De La Soul. You're like hesitating about that?
But how conscious were they really, in a sense? They
were, because people thought they were hippies. They were talking about, they were literally coming out there talking about all this gangster rap. They're like, look, we're hardcore. We're not coming from that. We're not even trying to deal with that stuff. So
I think it
was hippies until they found out.
Well, they started off, I think, sort of. It's kind of hard to describe De La Soul where they at, but by the 3rd album, Balloon Mind State, they was definitely with Ansar Allah. It was with Imam Isa. So they were definitely
talking about Dr. York. Shout out to Dr. York doing hard time.
Yeah.
Doing hard time.
They were definitely promoting that in the music at that time too. On the 3rd album.
Right.
And we was rocking with Imam Isa back then too. So
me too. Who wasn't? Yeah, he was conscious. He was. Yeah, definitely.
This is the pre-90s, right? We talking about like as we're rolling into the early.
This is the 90s. This is 89. This is 89.
Yeah. And that's just before
KMD. I'm just
KMD.
KMD, definitely.
I love that album. Mr. Hood album, dude. The fact that they had the whole album, how they played out, you know what I'm saying? Where they just using the white dude and all the stuff, where they snapping on him in the barbershop. I love that album. I mean, it's really artistic, but it's very conscious. They really tapped into the sort of like
he's a wolf.
Imam Issa.
He's a wolf.
The God Squad, with a Brand Nubian. So yeah,
Can I just say something really quick?
Was Nitty Gritty on there too?
Yes, Nitty Gritty.
Yeah. Can I just say something really quick? So a lot of the consciousness in rap that came in the late 80s, I believe, to be an influence of the 5% Nation of Gods and Herbs. They had a big influence, and it's
100%.
It's actually on the first page of Russell Simmons' first book. He gives a shout out to the 5% and just saying their influence on hip hop cannot be underestimated. A lot of the way that the b-boy stands, the idea of peace, all that's 5% lingo, which has kind of been interwoven, starting with. I mean, you hear it in Nucleus, Jam On It song, even Roxanne's Revenge. You think you are God, but you do eat lard. I mean, so. Like there's all this reference to the 5%, and I think that accumulated back, in the late 80s, and you can see it, especially when Farrakhan came to Madison Square Garden in '85. That had a big influence on black people.
Oh,
They had Born Alive.
No,
On the East Coast, but we didn't know about him out here on the West Coast. We didn't.
Who?
But I'm telling you like
knew
this.
about Farrakhan?
Well, maybe you did. I'm saying.
Well, I didn't know about Farrakhan until Farrakhan's a Prophet that I think you should have listened to. That was the first time I heard that name, and that's when I tapped in. When I seen him on Phil Donahue and stuff like that, that's when I really started.
Yeah, but you're talking about pre-95 in the March, but the brother's right. First this was 5%, but the minister came and he lit that fire there at 85, and then the build-up really came in the late 80s, coming to the 90s, where then the minister directly started getting involved with the brothers, in particular inside hip-hop, and then, the consciousness blew up to a whole nother level at that point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because a lot of offshoots of who you're talking about, I listened to some of their music, but then what really put me on the scene was that those they inspired. Like, for example, Public Enemy, I never was a big Public Enemy fan per se, but then all the disciples of Public Enemy, like Paris, a whole lot of other ones, I was on them. You know what I mean? No doubt about it.
Let me say this.
Paris.
We almost forgetting. Yeah, Paris. Paris is that's the man. We almost forgot about this one man, the God MC himself, Rakim.
Rakim. That's right.
He never really did any socially conscious rap, though. I mean, he was.
He dropped bars. You know what I mean? It was like a whole song. You know what I mean? But you'll hear like little bars here.
I don't know. He was talking consciousness, but he was talking 5% consciousness when he's like breaking down my favorite song. My favorite song from Rakim is "Follow the Leader." I mean, he's breaking this stuff down. Triple stage darkness and all this other stuff. So you can argue that there was that he was there was those consciousness. You don't really perceive him like that, but I mean too bad Born Alive. Hey, Born Alive, tap in. I sent you the link, man.
Zig.
Do a quick eye test. Look at the album covers of like some Cash Money, and then look at Paid in Full album cover.
Yeah, wait. She walked in and said something. You said Zigzag Zig. You know what? That came from Bambaataa, actually. That's Bambaataa.
That's a song. That's a song. That's a song on Born Alive's first album. Movement X. But he got a song called Zigzag Zig. He did critique his own work in a documentary he was on. I peep everything, Born Alive. I'm there, bro. I'm a fan. He did critique. He was like, I was wrong on this, but yeah, this was correct. Yeah, I seen that too. But yeah, salute to Born Alive. But let me get some battery power up in here. I'm still here, my niggas.
Yes, sir. So actually, you know what? Let's go back and correct the record. Bambaataa was actually conscious. You gotta think about it. Even though it wasn't like really out there like in Planet Rock and stuff like that, but he, the man was actually a conscious, individual.
No, hey, that's an example. That's an example of a conscious rapper versus a conscious person.
I mean, oh my goodness, hold on.
That's why I don't think we should talk about that part. We're just looking at the music, because I don't this whole labeling of conscious rapper. But Perfect Beat, he references Malcolm X and some of those earlier Soul Sonic Force songs. He had a whole song where he was sampling Malcolm X. So yeah, definitely they roll into that category.
Yes, sir. See, just want to correct that record for you youngsters out there that don't know. Spin that back. Show will educate you every time.
And I still rock his music. I understand that the person has some issues, but music is objective after a fashion. You can't take away. Planet Rock is still going to be one of the greatest hip hop songs ever, as far as I'm concerned.
That's so funny you mention that, because like books and other works of art, when they reach a certain amount of time, they fall into the public domain. So it's like, this belongs to the public now, bro. That rock don't belong to African Bambaataa. It belongs to the people, man.
Yeah, that's facts.
Well,
the people it was a little tough on me with R. Kelly, though. You know what I mean?
I used to love "Seems Like You're Ready," but in the context of where it's coming from, it's a different energy. It kind of takes away from it. You know what I'm saying? So I do. Sometimes it's hard to separate, and that's one of those examples where I'm like, yeah, That's
I
time
mean,
don't sit
I
right
know
like
we getting
this.
off topic, but yeah, with that R. Kelly thing, you know, I can't, I don't see nothing wrong. Remix. He said, make sure you 13, because anyway,
Yeah.
skip that.
Hey,
Anyway.
KRS One 13 and good, but anyways, not still. Go ahead.
Ooh, there you go.
That was a message.
Can I say my personal experience really quick, a little bit?
Go for it.
What's up?
Okay. So yeah, around that time, that's when I, like you, I was made aware of Farrakhan. I never had heard of Farrakhan, and because I was such a big fan of hip hop music, and I was a big fan of New York, you know, that trickled, and I don't know what, you know, else. It resonated so much. It made me hungry. It made me seek out things, and that's when I got into Imam Isa. That's when I started. So approaching the 90s, I stopped listening to everything that wasn't conscious rap, or conscious rap was made up like 70-80% of my music diet, and I just kind of, all the other stuff I didn't listen to anymore. So it had a very big influence on my political maturity and stuff.
Hey, I think in 1985 or 86, Farrakhan had a big speech he did. I remember they had stickers on everywhere, bus stops of
I think that's what we're talking about. We talked about it earlier in Madison Square Garden in New York.
Yeah. But this is LA though. I remember seeing
Oh yeah, we came to LA. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yep, but then my neighbors, they were Nation of Islam, and they gave us tapes. I'm talking about the first time I seen Farrakhan, I was like 11 or 12 years old. Like, I was like, damn, he's saying some stuff. Real stuff.
Well, I can
Then
remember
I heard Public Enemy say, don't judge the man until you heard the man. Like, I was like, oh.
And you know, around this time, approaching the early 90s, it'll be dudes, man, as gangsters, as criminals. Man, they riding down they got drugs on them. They riding down the street with a red, black, and green rope on, and playing Farrakhan, bumping Farrakhan from the car in Detroit, in the hood, just loud, just bumping them.
Yeah, he was
big,
absolutely, he was absolutely received by the Black community and embraced. You know what I'm saying? He did amazing things for us. You know, that's just for real. But he was Public Enemy was my intro.
Yeah, mine too, honestly. And sadly, I'm gonna say it like this: Farrakhan was not known like that on the West Coast like he was on the East Coast and places like Detroit, even the Midwest, because you know Chicago, you know Detroit and stuff like that.
Well, hold on. You got to put some respect. Detroit is the founding place of Nas number one. Just saying.
Right.
Yeah. So that's actually there. Yeah. So, so you're talking about not only that, you're talking about yes.
But to El Poo's point, the thing is that you know you're right. But what the crazy part about it is that when you go back and look at what we were listening to, we was hearing Farrakhan all along, and it was like a seed that was dropped. It took something else later on to make it sprout. You know what I mean? And then we realized, damn,
Michael,
been hearing him all along.
Michael on Good Times quoted Farrakhan.
Yeah,
he quoted Gary. So you know what I'm saying. So you know,
me personally, I was a little kid. I missed all that. That went way.
Yeah, it went over my head. It went over my head. Yeah. So you know, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I missed all that until, like I said, later. Like later on.
You saw the scenes,
I remember like a brother had he had hit me up. I was talking about like Noam Chomsky, you know what I mean, and different, you know, situations and different books and whatnot. And he was like, "Man, what you talking? What you talking? You know about Farrakhan?" I was like, "Farrakhan," and this is like, bro, I'm talking about. I'm in my 30s. You know what I mean? You know, my 30s, bro. You know, I'm not a young dude. I'm older. You know what I mean? I was like, Farrakhan, yeah, it do sound kind of familiar. He said, "Man, you ain't heard of Farrakhan?" And then he sent me to a website where I listened to this speech. It was the Malcolm X anniversary, you know what I mean? And then that's what put me on. And then that's when I started realizing, like, wait a minute, I've been hearing him all along, you know. And I started going back, you know, in my music, you know, the TV shows and everything, you know. And so it's like already a seed that was being planted. So what I'm saying to El Poo's point is that we wasn't conscious of it, but yet how powerful what the seed was. You know what I mean? It just lay dormant in us, you know what I mean? You know, until, you know, it came to be. You feel me?
So it was safe to say that, especially in the 80s, that the growth of conscious rap had a lot to do with the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam by Farrakhan and had to do with Father Allah, Clarence 13X, and Mecca
Right.
in Harlem. I mean, that was very impactful. Yeah.
Pillars.
Yeah.
Pillars. El Poo. So you were saying
Well, I'm saying now let's just go ahead and start moving on a little bit. Now, let's get to like people like the Ice-T's and the NWAs and stuff like that. This stuff is conscious too because it's socially conscious and letting people know, especially those white people that couldn't get to the ghetto and live the ghetto experience. They learned their ghetto
I
experience
will say, okay, I got to. I'm gonna let folks be.
by the Ice-T's and the NWAs and the so-called gangster rap, the Eazy-E's and all that.
The Easy E's.
But it was gangster rap, but it wasn't gangster to us because, like, when they was talking about police brutality, that was a lot of stuff.
Man, that was
I
one
remember a situation where I was a kid. I'm with my brother. He got pulled over for no reason. They made my little self. I'm 11 years old. Do the whole thing. Remember how they get on your knees and search you and all that stuff. Search the truck. And my brother was in the military at the time. He was so pissed after they pulled us over. He started following the police, and they lost us. They started going fast and they freaking lost us. They knew they was in the wrong. Yeah, this was me and Diamond D.
I don't. So I don't
blocked him from the show, but that's my brother.
I don't think because I don't put like NWA in that category at all. If anything, Cube inserted a little bit of consciousness on the album, a little bit, maybe in songs like Express Yourself, mainly. Yeah. But other than that, I don't put Fuck the Police at all in that category. That's just an everyday Black expression. It was just captured in music. I was like, damn, they said it in the song. That was great, but it wasn't.
I don't know, man.
Oh no, hold on, bro.
I think I disagree.
Hold on.
The general sentiment of the Black community is fuck the police. When I went to school,
why? Because of the
wait a minute, hold on. But they said why? They told a reason why.
They didn't, because they was doing criminal activity. Criminals hate the police. It's like the mafia.
Wait, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Easy verse started off like this. I'm tired of the motherfucking jacking. Sweating my game while I'm chilling in the shacking. All they doing, he's just chilling.
But he said also why they sweating him because he kick ass. And he talked about like his
maybe it's because I kick so much butt, I kick ass. Or
wait,
maybe
but it says F the police and the code for like isn't that the code for like drinking and driving? F the police and
But Dolomite also said fuck the police and his
no. But I'm saying that when you say F the whatever the code for drunk driving, that's not conscious.
That's a 502.
Yeah, that's not conscious. That's definitely not conscious.
502 is not a code. It's a police arrest.
Yeah, it's like 211.
That's the arrest code. Like 261.
Easy has never said anything conscious. So he's never said anything conscious. But I would say I would throw fuck the police in the category just because of the theme and how it can be. There's something in there, but yeah, I'll throw that barely.
Well, I'm gonna go Easy. The reason why I know about the 502 is because of Eazy-E. Fuck the police and the 502. He said that in 8-Ball, I think. I learned a lot from these records. Huh? What's that?
That's conscious.
Yeah, we learned how to rate.
That's
conscious. How to rate teenagers and
police.
No, you didn't learn.
What does
they didn't have a song about raping a teenager?
Come on, I saw movies.
What song? Come
on, man.
On the Niggas for Life album, he's talking about having sex with the 14-year-old girl.
MC Ren?
That's Ren.
MC Ren.
That's he was talking about getting his DIC.
Specifically, he said it by name. Fuck, he called her a bitch. She was 14 years old. She was a pastor's daughter.
Yeah, it's the preacher's daughter. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. In fact, I think that's Ren solo album behind the scenes.
Apologizing. So I'm just saying what
you said. Rape. You said rape.
A 14-year-old can't give consent.
Statutory rape. So a drunk driving misdemeanor. What does Penal Code 502 mean? Penal Code 502 means drunk driving.
So the police in a
I learned what the 211 was from NWA too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's because you're in Detroit. You know, we knew about the 211 187.
I knew about the 187. I didn't know about the 211. Now I used to do the 211s, but
But you know, the
264.
thing is, these are California penal codes, and everybody all across the nation is using it. It's crazy, right?
Hold up, that's not you. That's not national.
No, it's
No,
California.
it's a California. It's
Y'all
I think
stole it from
it's
us.
11.
187, y'all stole it.
187, 211, all that is us.
Wow.
yeah, this penal codes, California penal codes.
Wow.
245.
I don't know about that. Now you get
Yeah, accommodated. You sounded like Denzel and X.
with that. Okay, so then we had people like that. Then we had people like moving on a little bit. Then you had the who else came along around that time? Do y'all consider? I consider even people like Naughty by Nature was kind of like on the conscious tip.
No,
Well,
now, you want to know who was on a conscious tip, bro?
Hell yeah.
At that time, Dead Prez, bro.
Dead,
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
Yeah,
That's later, though.
before you go there, you gotta go to Brand Nubian then, okay? You gotta go.
Wait, student A.
Oh, well, I know we covered Brand Nubian, era. You know what I mean?
Ain't nothing fucking with Dead Prez, man.
Wait, hold on.
Dead Prez is at the top of the
Dead
conscious
Prez is
rap.
like, what's that? 2001,
They
2002.
Hell, Mount Everest,
It's
though,
in the
man.
90s. They in the late 90s, like 97, 98, somewhere around
It's
there.
late. But Naughty, wait, remember what Naughty said? If you ain't never been to the ghetto,
Don't ever come to the ghetto.
come to the ghetto. Stay the fuck out the ghetto. Because you wouldn't understand the ghetto.
That was
is
one song, though. That everything. What was that? What was the name of that one? Everything. Yeah, Bob
Ghetto
Ghetto
Marley.
Bastard.
Bastard. Yeah,
Ghetto
Ghetto
Bastard.
Everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
But that's real. That's so real. See, it's a lot of people that be commenting on stuff that people are going through. You ain't lived that life. You ain't never been in that situation. Well, let me say this story real fast. I have a homeboy. Y'all all know him, but I'm not gonna say his name. But he was telling me a story. He told it on the Focus Up show, but I'm not gonna mention him. He told a story about how him and his brother was hungry, and he was looking. He seen a lady throw a fucking hamburger. She barely ate it in the trash, and he was like, "Damn, should I get that for me and eat it, or should I bring it home to my little brother? Because I know he's fucking hungry." That shit fucked me up. As a young kid, I never went through that, but I could understand it because we all was in the same fucking neighborhood. But some people I had a mother and father. He didn't have a mother and father. He just had his mom. So all that stuff makes sense because we all, if you didn't live it, you seen it. You done went in people's houses when you was young and they had a show of roaches and they was living in poverty. Then you like, damn, we got rats, we ain't got roaches. You might bag on their ass, but that's just what it was. So that song with Naughty by Nature, when he said that shit was so deep because a lot of people wouldn't even understand even having roaches or rats. Like none of my baby mamas, like a fucking, oh shit, a roach. Oh, they losing their goddamn mom. I'm like, shit, that's what we got to
I think at that time it was like I remember, say early on in rap, and I want to take a quick time, but there seemed to be a formula for an album. You have to have a song about this. You have the song about your DJ. You haven't had the song about a girl. You had to put her down for being promiscuous. That was just like a standard. But I think in the late 80s with the Afrocentric conscious rap, it became almost a standard. You had to have at least one song that gave some type of credence, or it was an ode, so to speak, or, because it was trendy at that time. So you had to have at least one song that referenced something.
I would definitely say as a
Tupac was
person
notorious
constructed
for it.
album. Yeah.
I'd say in the circa early 90s, like 91, 92.
Yeah, I was guilty of that type of strategy.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, all the good ones were. Like our brother said, like Tupac, he was the master of it. You know what I mean? The master of it, bro. He always had that one song, that was mainstream, that reached out across the line, where it be Dear Mama, where it be
beautiful songs.
Brenda's got a baby, social situations and whatnot,
You're right. Until his latter albums.
Yeah.
Belly and All Eyes on Me, that ended all that.
No.
He still had like
he still had it.
Having Ghetto in Heaven or something.
White Man's World. World.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it wasn't as deep.
White Man's World. You know what I'm saying?
That's the first album. The first album was just, it was a lot more.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for correcting me. See, I can take correction. Ain't no problem with that. But it just wasn't like impactful as the earlier stuff. Because first I would have put Tupac in as like a conscious rapper. And then like QB just got away from it, in my opinion. But Q just really just went away from it. He went from conscious to straight gangster.
Whatever was the trend, he was in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's what made it look like it was a trend. This is the fall of it all. When people like Cube started like, let me leave that alone. I ain't messing with it no more. I ain't making no money.
Hey, the nation had their hands in a lot of people getting, kind of educated and civilized. And you could tell there was a period of time where the nation really had a good impact on him. You're talking about that death certificate where he's basically got the good side and the bad side or whatever and stuff like that. So, because he was, you remember him. Because remember him, and he had that song with him and Flavor Flav talking about, I'm only out for one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so,
But you remember, though, when he was in the Nation of Islam, this dude was doing advertisements for St. Ives Liquor at the same time.
He also had that song with he also had that song with Scarface when he said, I'll attack and make you vomit. Down with Khalid Abdul Muhammad. You need a brother Ahmed. Then Khalid Abdul Muhammad was like, I thought you was my brother. He wasn't there for him when he needed him. Because
that was a nation beef thing right there.
You know what he said? He said, the cube has melted.
Yes. He did. And he ain't came to ice form yet since then. I'm just saying. That's why I don't fuck with you.
You talking about the dude that died?
He's dead.
Lee Muhammad, yes.
Yeah, he's been dead.
Anything before 2000, I don't fuck with you. Sorry, that's just what it is.
The one that's on our Public Enemy album saying, for those, we have even lost our minds. I forgot the whole thing he said.
That's Khalid Muhammad.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I learned about him because I started studying him because of Public Enemy. Because I thought he was Farrakhan, actually.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Bam!
That was Life's of the Living Basshead. That was a song.
Too Black, Too Strong. I thought that was Malcolm X. That's what got me into Malcolm X. Listen, Public Enemy got me into
Public Enemy had their fingerprints at a lot of my consciousness and stuff like that. I was shocked when you guys were all going. When I was going, woo! I wasn't talking about Paris. I was talking about your comment about Public Enemy because that blew my mind. Because I think a nation, it takes a nation to the millions. I think that's the greatest rap album ever. Period. Like I don't even think nothing can touch it. That's why I'm like shocked. You're saying you didn't rock with PE. I mean, this is a hold on.
Who didn't rock with PE?
Student X. He just
I didn't say I rock with PE.
I was saying, but you didn't really. You weren't a big fan.
It wasn't like who I was on real heavy. You know what I mean? Because honestly, early on in my development, man, I was like Smooth Criminal. Man, I was like R&B love songs.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
On that, and I dibbled in hip hop. I listened to some hip hop, you know what I mean, some rap and whatnot. But that, I didn't start getting into more hip hop till I got older, you know what I mean, and then and then the rest was history.
I want to mention too. I don't know if we mentioned, Ghetto Boys. Their song. They had the song "No Sellout" in support of Public Enemy when the riff happened between Professor X. So on that first album, what is it? On the Farilla? No, the album where Face got the shirt off, with Gangster Love on it. That album, we had the song No Sellout on that album. Gangster Love.
I just knew that, I honestly, I didn't follow the Ghetto Boys like that.
Grip it on that level.
Grip it on that level.
Woo!
I was waiting for Walk to chime in.
Man, you couldn't tell me nothing. I wasn't trying to listen to nothing y'all saying right now back then. Man.
Okay, yes, sir. So when was what started the fall of conscious hip hop? What do you think?
I would say gangster rap taking over, becoming a norm. Like, gangster rap was already in existence, but it became mainstream. Once that happened, I mean, you even remember Young MC went away and they were like promoting like, oh, Young C's coming out with a new album, and they tried to gangster him up and stuff like that. I mean, they even did that with MC Hammer. MC Hammer. Yeah. Still, I'm just saying that's when it really changed, and that was a business decision by business executives to decide.
Exactly. I got a theory on this, but go ahead.
Let me ask y'all this, because I've heard interviews with the Wu-Tang Clan. Like people was thinking that they were conscious rappers. Some of them was 5%ers. Some of them was like the genius was. He was a fucking genius. He's a scholar. So they was thinking that they was more than what they actually was talking about. Even though there was a lot of them was talking street shit. This is 9 different individuals. So how did you guys see the Wu-Tang Clan as a gangster rap or on the positive? Like, if you had to put them in the category, what category would you put the Wu-Tang Clan?
When I saw them, I saw them back in the day. To me, they were gangster rap. I felt like them and Cypress Hill. I felt like they saved hip hop because I felt like hip hop, like musically, was like not going in the right place. But it was a double-edged sword because now that became the norm, and really sort of like ignorance just went to a whole nother place. Now, I'm not saying that Wu-Tang was ignorant, but I'm just saying that they're talking about sewing up somebody's asshole and feeding them and feeding them and feeding them. That wasn't the most conscious type of stuff that they were talking about. But I definitely saw them. I saw them. To me, it was like gangster rap. You talk about shooting people and killing people and stuff like that. That's how I perceived it.
Okay, so from my perspective, because I was in the 5% Nation of Gods on Earth, so I'm looking from the inside out. That album caused a little schism amongst just the God bodies, that the folks that I was around, because some people were looking, they dropping the science, man, they're the gods, they representing. But then there was other folks, because I was more in alignment with this brother named Prince Cuba Allah, and he was like very critical of Wu-Tang and of the 5%. He wanted to do a lot of reforms around. Because according to the lessons, women have the same level of brain power as the devil, or the devil actually has more brain energy than the black women. So it was a lot of criticism in the 5% around the Wu-Tang and where they stood, where they were.
Yeah, I think it's also important to note, not everyone, will want me to bring this up because I love my brothers, from the 5%, as well, of course, as from the nation, but there was in the 5%, the level of discipline was not the same as it was inside of the nation. You know what I mean? The nation was definitely more conservative, you know what I mean? And it definitely was more, things that were forbidden, you had the, granted, it wasn't perfect, the nation, let me say that. It was still, some issues here and there, but I think that was, real key as to why you didn't see it, translate into the music. You know what I mean?
Father Allah himself, who Malcolm X kicked out of Mosque number 7, lacked discipline himself. So the father of that movement, and is kind of seen in the later adherents of that movie. Because I remember we was in college, man. People, folks would come. He had the 6-pointed flag, the coat. Yeah, I'm the guy. And the girl was like, "Man, y'all sell drugs in Brooklyn." She was from Brooklyn. She was like, get out of here. Y'all ain't shit. I remember.
When I think about the Wu-Tang, I think there was like a combination, because when you listen to RZA on some of the stuff, he's spitting some wisdom. Then you got like Inspector Deck, his lyrics are kind of like
my favorite rapper on the group.
Of course, the genius. Then you got people like Raekwon and Ghost, them dudes, they just on their own little thing. He just on a whole different level. ODB is unpredictable. I don't know where he is.
Love that dude, man.
So I think it was like a combination in a sense. But you got to have a little bit of both of it, because like Rakim, he had a lot of like gangster stories and stuff, but he was very conscious in a sense. But
he's definitely very walk-in, because he always talk about these hands. Yeah, when you're dealing with Rakim, just understand. Tread carefully.
I know. Look, just for the sake of not running out of time, I mean, there's definitely some people I want to, bring to the forefront. And one of them is, I gotta give a shout out, to LA. Because this brother right here, he didn't even consider himself a conscious rapper, but he dropped, a song, bro, out, that was just ridiculous. It was entitled "The Nature of the Threat." I want to give a shout out to Razcast, man. Razcast came so damn hard, Dropped a couple, a few other songs out there, But he's
definitely a conscious, in my mind, a conscious rapper.
Oh, let me also give a
wait, salute to Razcast. I was in jail with Razcast in 2000.
give Walker a special spin that back for that. Let me give a special shout out to my man Cam too, West
Oh
Coast
yeah,
Cam.
oh yeah.
Oh, bro, come on.
Real conscious rapper,
Come on.
because he started off on this thing about his peoples, and he's still on this thing about his people. He never strayed away from that.
Never,
Straight up
never,
real.
never.
I gotta add the coup, the Conscious Daughters, 3 times, and Ascari X.
Now 3 times wasn't conscious. They had some cuts now, you know what I mean? And they do it. You know what I mean? But look, I knew y'all was gonna bring this name up. I'm gonna bring it up right now. Immortal Technique.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I'm gonna bring it up.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Man.
And we talked about him, but we gotta point out, you talk about Born Allah, you know what I'm saying? So this is one of the dudes that really had his hands in sort of like the education of the nation of gods and earth on the west side. So a lot of these guys, because they actually have like a regular meeting that they got together. I forget what they call it, but the bottom line is they have something, I think like the first of the month or whatever, where they would all like meet up at Lamert and all this other stuff and teach and stuff like that. And outsiders could come. So I always wanted to come, you know what I'm saying? But you can't, only people can speak is the people that are initiated, you know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is they build and they connect. So that's why when he would talk about like, look, if you're a 5%er and we don't know you, that's kind of a problem, because part of it about it is you connect and whatever, so you tap in, so to speak. So that's what's up. So again, shout out to this very conscious brother. He had an impact on me. We weren't necessarily dealing with each other a whole lot at the time when he was doing it, but he was still even impacting me from afar. But me and him, like, we was brothers way before then. So that's what's up.
Okay, and I
Just
just want to
Born Allah. Hey, wait, watch. I remember I read that shit, Born Allah by Smooth House. Smooth on Hauser. And I had
F-esteem.
passion. But that was like
I said F-esteem.
yeah, but I fuck with my nigga. But I'm gonna quote one of his bars. I said it while he was on the show. He missed it. He said, "Supreme wisdom fucking up the algorithm." That's Born Allah right there. That's core as fuck.
Now, I just want to say really quick, the impact of Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee, and there was a phrase going around that it's a black thing and you need to understand. That was very popular at that time. I actually had a few of the shirts, but I want to argue this theory.
I thought it said it's a black thing you wouldn't understand.
I'm sorry, it's a black thing you wouldn't understand. But so this is my theory, really quick.
Nah, he was right the first time.
In the summer, black exploitation never went anywhere. It went away cinematically. It reemerged in the music, and that's the success of gangster rap, which was also inversely the demise of conscious rap. So that's my kind of argument there. What folks feel about that.
I disagree with that, but
okay.
But do you disagree that it sounds like you agreed that gangster rap was the cause of the death of conscious rap?
Black cinema, we saved the fucking the industry of movie theaters and all that stuff. Nobody was going to the movies until we start coming out with our dumbass, crazy ass, because the black people start going to the movies when we start seeing Dolomite, The Shaft, all the weird ass.
See, that's where so Dolomite was on the tail end, like the last of the black exploitation films. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So circa 79.
The ones before that too. The ones before that, like Lady Love. Come on now. It was stuff in the early 70s.
You know what I'm saying? But they died out. You agree, right?
No. It's just people started making more movies because the whole movie industry was dying out. Nobody was going to see the fucking Frank Sinatra.
The black exploitation period. Do you believe that died out? Did you believe that those movies stopped? That movement. That I think that's the question, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's undisputable.
It stopped at some point. Yeah, it stopped at some point. But those people, it did transfer to rap.
The movie.
We're not, you're right. Well,
yeah, but what I'm saying is that it continued in the music because a lot of those soundtracks were even, simultaneously as successful as the cinematic stuff that was coming out. And if you listen to the early gangster rappers, Ice-T, because first of all, blaxploitation was also novels. So Ice-T was influenced by Iceberg Slim, Pimp, The Story of My Life. Clearly, the early gangster rappers in WA was influenced by Dolomite. They clearly talk about this. So there's a
Kane was
line
Kane was quoting him and had him on the song. He did a song with Dolomite.
Yeah, and Rakim too, and like the imagery of that blaxploitation era is very prevalent in the early days of gangster rap. So I'm saying that blaxploitation reemerged in the music.
Oh,
It never went away. Really, it just continued in a different form.
I never went away.
makes
Snoop
sense.
brought it back heavy, though. I would say.
The Miseducation of Sonny Liston, whatever that movie, they quote that Wu-Tang, whatever, they're playing clips from that all the time. You know what I'm saying? So
But
yeah,
that was more of a black arts than black. So that's another thing. The conscious rap was more rooted in the black arts movement. The gangster rap is more rooted in the blaxploitation movement.
Mm-hmm.
That brings me to the last thing I want to mention on the show was, and this is a shout out, to Afro. Y'all mentioned this gentleman earlier, but he came with like a really political song. And at the time, what was weird was that no black rappers in particular, did anything, said anything, took up a stand. But there was one rapper, that took a stand, and this is during George Bush post 9/11. In 2004, he dropped a hit called Mosh. Eminem. It was an anti-war cut, and it was weird is that today you see more Eminem as anti-Trump, but back then this was anti, Bush, at the time, and it was all about the war and what was taking place in Afghanistan, Iraq, and whatnot. And he came real hard. And he was among the few, celebrity rappers, singers, or whatever that even went there. On this subject, so I got to throw a shout out him.
Kanye might disagree.
You disagree with what?
No, I said Kanye went after Bush.
Yeah. He went to Bush for Katrina. You know what I mean? And that was good. I thought that was a good thing. You know what I mean? But this one, outside of him on that particular subject, the only person that really challenged him, because remember, this is post 9/11. They're telling us terrorists. This, that, and the other, saying so to be, to have something critical to say at that time, wasn't very popular at all.
But
it wasn't a strong march.
Any credit to Eminem, I just have to comment. I would say Barbara Lee took a bigger risk than he had his right privilege to shield him. But shout out that he did do that at least. But fuck Eminem, yeah.
Ouch.
Hey, fellas, I got to get out of here. I got a lot going on. I'm arguing with two baby mamas at the same time, but I gotta go because I gotta go get my son haircut. But man, salute to the Spin That Back show. You know how we do, and I'm not driving. I'm not driving.
Good for you, brother.
They gotta pick me up. What the bullshit? You want this money? Pick me up, and I'll take you there and get it done. Let's go. Hey, salute. All right, I'm out of here.
All right, brothers.
That's kind of against his brand. Sex talk. I guess he. I don't know.
So we agree that gangster rap was kind of like the downfall. The corporate part of the rap industry or the music industry.
I think corporate America, they prefer gangster rap over conscious rap.
Oh, of course.
And not just gangster rap, but trap music and all this other stuff. I mean,
Everything
Shake
that
the
came
Beauty
after
music,
it.
all that stuff. And I do want to say that when you talked about conscious, I wanted to offer up like Kid and Play, because I mean they weren't necessarily talking about issues, but when you have a song like We Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody, I mean, to me, having fun, it's still conscious, it's still positive. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it's not about just robbing your brother or doing something like that. So to me, when I was thinking about conscious rapper, I would still include that, even though I do get the difference.
MC Hammer must have been a conscious rapper.
He was, because he's sitting there talking about he was a religious person. He was very very religious.
You gotta pray every day.
Nasty.
But I would say that one song though, that Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody, I think that was kind of intended to counteract the violence that was so prevalent in the community. I think they put that together for that. Mm-hmm. Ain't gonna hurt nobody, just partying. So that particular song, I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. But I would say the person who best balanced the gangster and the consciousness was probably Tupac, if not Tupac, Ice-T, I believe in the 80s, no doubt. Or I think Ice-T and Tupac did it.
Well, Ice-T and then Ice-T had an influence on Tupac, in other words. That's how I would actually put it.
Well, no, he kind of, in the sense that like Ice-T, like, let's be clear, a lot of the gangster music is a lot of it not well young. Okay, a lot of it in the 90s, at least in the early 2000s, was celebratory. It glamorized a lot of things. Ice-T, he told if you ever read some of the actual gangster novels, they tell you the underside, and the downfall, the negatives, the kind of like Ghetto Boys mind playing tricks. It kind of gave you a different perspective about that lifestyle.
Well, NWA did the same with Dope Man, the radio version, not the street version.
Yeah, technically. So that wasn't their the radio version the radio version framed the Dope Man as like a bad thing and all this other stuff.
What?
Yeah, I can't. But how did you listen? I guess you only heard the real version.
Yeah. It's one part where he said something, and the girl's like, "Hey, Dope Man." On the radio version, it's like, "No, that's not me." On the street version, it's like, "Hey, Dope Man, bitch, shut the fuck up."
No, they flipped. They did what they did with White Lines. White Lines was a celebratory song about doing cocaine, and the executives put them pressure on it to just put a little tweaks in there to make it seem like they're saying, "Don't do it." And that's what the NWA, they do their regular songs, and they said, "Hey, let's do a radio version." And in the radio version, they literally wouldn't just like change a curse word for a non-curse word. They literally rewrite the lyrics and frame it differently, where it's not celebratory. It's just sort of like reporting it and maybe even putting it down. You know what I'm saying? So, no, they 100% did that. Go check out those radio versions just for the knowledge of that it happened.
They give them no credit for that. They were just trying to get radio play.
That's all they were doing. That's all they were doing, and that's exactly what Melly Mel and whatchamacallit were doing.
Especially when the instructions that were coming from the executives were, to make a certain type of album, you know what I mean? And then they would go through and edit it, for different purposes, like a radio track or whatnot. But that's the most important thing. And Mr. Nice brought up earlier, the main reason why things fell is the executives came behind the scene and said, "Hey, look, we're not going to promote this type of music. We want it like this, And it reminds me of, I remember when the minister was talking, he had made his comments public, but he had pulled R. Kelly to the side, had a conversation with him, and R. Kelly came and said to him that the executive producers, they were coming at him, and they wanted him to make the most dirtiest, raunchiest album that he could possibly make, and then the minister gave some guidance on it. R. Kelly went ahead and produced it, and then we just started seeing, more artists come with a lot of filth, a lot of debauchery, a lot of, a certain type. They even have a title for the music now when they're talking about like different R&B, it's like more, triple X, type of, in his description and whatnot, but these executives, they pushed the narrative. They wanted a certain thing to happen. And then that just meant that if you're coming on that positive tip, you weren't going to be allowed to even get on the airways, and get play at all, period. So then you had to come, like they wanted you.
Not to be all gossipy, but the internet has kind of scrubbed this, and I don't know, maybe this goes into this conspiracy dynamics and stuff like that. But it was widely rumored that there was this big BET meeting that took place, a bunch of executives, and they literally came out with a list of people and was like, you're talking about all the people from our era. It was like KRS-One, Public Enemy, Moni Love, De La Soul, all of this. We're going to ban it. We're not going to play any of their music anymore. And it basically de facto switched the whole sort of like genre to sort of the gangster, the trap, the shake your booty, that type of stuff. And, this has been out there a lot. And I'm just saying, if they did, they single-handedly impacted the music. Like,
you know what? I believe they did, because we see the same thing when in the blaxploitation cinema. It all traces back to Marvin Van Peebles' Sweetback's Badass Song. That was the prototype for that they later stole and turned into Shaft. He was police, but Sweetback was not police. He was against it. The whole scene was anti-police, and he was more of a rebel, a revolutionary, who gained consciousness in his struggle over poverty and all of that stuff. So that was the basis for Shaft, which is considered like the first black exploitation film. So we see them appropriating the image and all that. Because if you look, there's a real close link between the imagery, say, of the Black Panther Party and then the imagery of NWA or gangster rappers early on. both toting guns, both wearing black, you know, both have this macho persona that they, you know, get rich or die trying. The actual, that was a saying of the Black Panther Party in New York, get rich or die trying. So, you know, I think, yeah, I definitely think I agree with that. I believe that, Mr. Nice Guy.
I'll tell you what, I always learn something when I'm on here. So that's why I like to have you brothers on here. Could you please come back next time that we have this? We might have it again. And we need y'all back here. But anyway, we're going overtime, y'all. I think that's about it for this week. So we'd like to thank y'all for joining the show one more time. And, if you can come back next time, we do come back. Oh, you got something else to say, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to extend the show, but like when we were going over BDP earlier, and we were trying to figure out when they went, you know, conscious and whatnot, and kind of switched up. You know, I noticed because I was thinking about an old school song, you know, from back in the day when it was called Self Destruction. Y'all remember Self Destruction?
Yeah.
The Stop the Violence movement.
Yep.
Yeah. So BDP is the one who organized that after. In 1988, you know, someone was killed at a BDP Public Enemy show, you know, and then I don't know, it was a coincidence that in 1990, when they came out with their next album, the BDP album, they called it Edutainment, and then that's when it seemed like they started going a lot more, you know, conscious, you know what I mean? But going back to that Stop the Violence song, you know, there were some heavyweights there. I mean, it was BDP, Stethasonic, Kumo D, MC Light, D Nice, Miss Melody, Dougie Fresh, Just Ice, Heavy D, Public Enemy. What's our folks out there from the West? Big Daddy Kane was in there too.
Wasn't
you know
no West
what I mean?
Coast.
They had Tone Boat, Young MC.
No,
you know
but
what I mean?
West Coast had all in the
West
same
Coast,
game.
all in the same game.
West
Yeah, all
Coast
in the
All
same
Stars.
game.
Yeah.
And every line in there was conscious. It was encouraging to anti-violence, except Easy E.
Hey. Now we going to okay. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us here at the Focus. We'll see y'all next time. Hopefully next week. If not,